at we've got an unusual looking grid actually for this I'm looking at our grid on our screen, and it doesn't appear to be what we're going to have on track. But,
yeah, and so this grid's been done off championship position rather than qualifying position, obviously, because we haven't had a qualifying.
It is. Now, I'll tell you who is missing from this, and that's John Midgley. I can't see him out there at all. Now, I know the car's here, and the car was on track yesterday. So yeah, I can't see John Midgley out there at all.
There's still a fair few gaps.
We're still waiting for him but I mean, let's face it, if John was out there, he'd be a lot further up the grid than that.
Well, yeah, I mean, being off the championship position as John finished.
True, yes, yeah, we're not doing qualifying. I do apologise. Yeah, you're correct. So
yeah, so this is set. This could create some upsets in terms of starting positions, but being a 1 hour, it should work itself out.
But having said that, I still haven't seen John come out of pit lane, so I'm picking that he's either not running and he may have decided that it's not worth running, because if he's...
Is he also in the 3 hour?
I don't know. I don't think so.
No.
I really don't know.
You've still got we've got three missing positions there.
Yeah. Well, that could be from yesterday. I mean, I know we're not going to see in the 3 hour. I know we've lost the Sanyong Super Ute through no oil pressure. That's why they're going to run the Mustang in the 3 hour as well.
And then the other side of it is some people may have made plans for today that they can't miss.
That's true. Yeah, I mean, there may be, bearing in mind we were supposed to, for those of you out in the intellect world, we were supposed to be running this yesterday. So this is a big thank you to John Hume and Puke Park Raceway for really bending over backwards to give us a second day to run this.
And to be honest, I don't think there'll be one driver out there on the grid now that's thinking, I should have raced yesterday.
Yeah,
given how much better the conditions are today.
I agree with that. Yeah, I totally agree with that. So, let's have a quick run through our sponsors to thank them. We've talked about Anios Oil, but we've also got Hamilton Asphalt's McCullough Limited and Race Brakes, who are series sponsors. And then race sponsors is Harris Race Radios and Michelin Tyres, so we thank them. We've also got Futura Trailers, Vortex Racewear and Pacific Resort. And then we go for Squawking Magpie Wines. And the food is provided by, when we have our barbecue, from Foodstuffs by Pack and Save and New World. And, of course, our media is Fast Files and Velocity. And, of course, the other thing, too, is this is put on by the historic HRC events. And...
yeah, we can see straight away they're trying to get as much temperature into those tyres as possible.
Yeah, so... 722 goes through there. That's Cameron McCormick in the Porsche GT3. There's right down the back here we've got car number 53. That's the car that's being helped by being run by I haven't even got him online here.
And so for the start of this 1 hour race, the temperature's currently at a pretty cold 11 degrees, which is, I think it's the coldest temperature we've seen at a race this season.
Were you not at Taupo?
No, I was not at Taupo. Was it freezing there?
It's always freezing at Taupo. It was so bitterly cold, it was unbelievable. In fact, I think we had one marshal taken in with hypothermia. Oh. It was cold, I can tell you. Wet and cold. Mind you, it was better than the year before. It was just cold. We couldn't see anything. There was fog. So, okay, so they're behind the safety car now. Tony Rutherford got them in control. We're going to talk about Tony throughout the day. He's a very seasoned campaigner and behind the wheel of a race car himself. And he's currently leading the Class 2 in the Australian Historic Trans Am Championship.
I think he's leading this grid at the moment, isn't he?
He is leading this. He leads a lot of races around here. So he'll pull off now, and it'll be in the hands of Matt Whitaker. Now, given that John's not here, I'm picking, and we've had a couple of Porsches taken out at Hampton, I'm picking that this one will, all Matt's got to do is keep his nose clean and just rely on the mechanical reliability of the German Porsche.
Yeah, they come over the hill for the race start.
And Ian Hare on the outside. Start's been aborted. The start has been aborted. So, aborted start because everybody down the back is crawling around the track, and I mean, this is, you know, this is just not on. I mean, look at these guys at the top of the hill here. You know, I mean, why are they way back there?
Yeah, I think it's easy for... It's sort of Chinese whispers down the grid. Everyone leaves an extra car length than what they need to try and get a run on the guy in front, and it just multiplies throughout the field. Yeah, but I mean, you know, a car length is a car length, James. I mean, there were about 32 car lengths between, that bunch there. You know, I mean, some of these guys are just asleep. And, there is the thing that it only takes one driver to create that gap, and everyone else has got to follow behind that driver.
That's right.
To create the gap.
That's right. So,
because you'll be penalised if you jump him just because he left a gap too big.
Yeah. So that's why rolling starts can be a good thing because it's easier on the gear. But by the same token, they can also be a real problem because you get these. These situations where you get guys who just... the other one is safety cars as well. You know, I mean,
safety car restarts, it's not uncommon to see that go completely wrong. Either the guy's too eager and he just sits on the tail of the safety car and never lets the safety car escape, or he's not paying attention at all and the whole thing falls apart.
Okay, so aborted start. We're going to try this one again. Hopefully they'll get themselves a bit closer and bunch it up a bit. And we'll be underway in the not too distant future. Right. Under the Sanyong Bridge, or the first Sanyong Bridge. We've got two of them here now. And Sanyong, big supporters of Puke Park Raceway. We've got the two Sanyong Bridges, and we've got the Sanyong Sweeper down the front here. And
they're definitely bunching up the field this time.
Yeah, I think they've wised up to this now. So up the top of the hill they come. Matt Whitaker again in control in the 991 GT3. Alongside him, it's Ian Hare in the older model GT3. A 997, that car. Has been hot rodded a bit, but it's not going to be a match for the... Although, talking to Craig Baird, he prefers the older one to the new one. Okay, here they come. Down under the bridge for the first time. Heading for the start line. Is it going to go this time? Yep, yeah, they've got to go. The lights are out and they're gone. And Ian Hare gets the jump on Whitaker down into turn one. Is he going to come across the bow? Whitaker, no. Whitaker manages to hold him out. Look at this. Matt Griffin and John Veth had it, the two of them, into turn one as well. So the BMW of M3 GD3 of Matt Whitaker gets past John Veth. So... Sorry, Matt Griffin, I do apologise. You got Matt Whitaker in the lead, and he's, as I said, he's already opened up James.
Not one car decided to go around the outside on turn one. That's how everyone's thinking of a safety-orientated plan, rather than getting that one position, taking a lot of risk.
Yeah, I tell you what, it was what a flying start. That was a great start there. Took them two goes at it. Now you can see some of the guys at the back who are in championship position further down are starting to move through the field, James. You can look at Andrew Nugent powering through there in the Burrows seating BMW M3.
Yeah, well, given that it was off championship position, we are going to see some passing under power to start with. There's going to be some raw pace coming into effect.
So down through the gap they come, up over the hill for the very first time, under racing conditions anyway, and it's Matt Whitaker. Ian Hare's trying to hang on to him in the GD3, and then you've got John Veth, or it could be Glenn Smith in the car. Already, look how much they've dropped off Griffin, and he's already lost the position to... Who's Griffin lost the position to? I'll tell you what, that was a little Subaru there of... fantastic, that little Subaru of Nick Archibald up there, and he's got past Graham Fraser. Those two are fighting over championship positions.
You know, I'm just looking at these two Porsches at the front. I reckon Ian Hare's got Matt Whitaker under brakes. Not past him, but definitely has the edge under brakes. So
yeah, but yeah. I don't want to sort of play Matt up too much, but that is a very, very good piece of kit, that car. And the GT, whilst the one behind it's also a nice piece of kit. With Porsche's evolution, they just take leaps and bounds from model to model. I mean, when you look at something that was designed originally in 1959 or whatever it was, they've not changed shape much. So here comes down here in the Scarborough GT3. I'll tell you what, though, Veth's hanging on to them. They're not getting away too much. They're all doing that lap round. Whitaker was about a second and a half quicker with a 13.078 from Ian Hare on a 14.563 and Veth on a 14.575. So there's not a lot of difference between them. Matt Griffin then will go next man back on a 15.902, and then a big drop. Then we go back to Nick Archibald and Graham Fraser, who are having a ding-dong battle, the two of them. The little GT Class 2 cars. And the little Subaru has got it over the BMW at the moment with a 22.074 to a 22.276. Right down the back of the field here, James, we've got the two Utes having a battle, and then all of a sudden we've got the little Toyota 86s in there as well. Here's Kel McBeath comes through in the Panos American. That's an American-built sports car, and designed and built by Don Panos. And Kel is the one of the leading men behind the North Island Endurance Drivers Club, who are putting on this North Island Endurance Series, ENEOS North Island Endurance Series.
I tell you what, looking at the way no one was willing to go take any risks getting off that dry line, it's going to be interesting once Matt Whitaker catches the back marker. He's not too far off him. We could see that gap that he's managed to gain disappear in one lap. Yeah,
could do. I mean, he's it's the same for everybody. They've got to thread their way through the traffic, as you quite often hear them saying in Formula One, or even in supercars, it's the first guy that arrives has got the problem, because nobody once he's got there, they're sort of awake to everybody else coming through.
Yeah, definitely. So we'll see if they obviously, being a lap down, they've got to let them by, but it's up to them when they let them by.
Yeah, that's true. So good bunch of cars coming down in here now, and I've got I can see Barry Kirkman-And has got past Bernard Wright. And then they've got behind them, they've got Andrew Nugent in the Burrow seating BMW M3. Now another spot back there, and I'm just trying to pick up who that is. I think that is...
well, here comes Matt Whitaker over the hill. He's passing, he's got the lights flashing, he's made it. But he's going to be, is this RX-8 going to get in the way around turn one?
I'll tell you what, Ian Hare's had an issue somewhere, because he's slowed it. Well, he's lost a lot of ground, and John Veth has got his nose of that big Commodore right under the back wing of the GT3 Porsche as they come down the front straight. And I tell you what, look at him, Veth's all over him like a cheap suit trying to get through that, past him on GJ Gardner's corner. Down the back straight they go, and watch the Porsche now with the 7-litre V8 Commodore behind it fire up, and see the under brakes. I'm picking the Porsche is just going to go away from him again, and no, they're pretty even under brakes.
Pretty even, so yeah. I'm guessing Veth's is going 100%
yeah.
to stay with that Porsche.
Now just look at Rick Cooper here in the Mustang. He's fighting his way through, and he's managed to get himself past Graham Fraser now, and he's hovering around looking for fourth position.
Now, something's gone amiss with the timing here, because we've got John Veth currently in the lead.
Okay, well, that could be... is there a penalty involved here? We'll need to talk to our timing people. Do you know somebody in timing, James?
No, I don't know anyone. But in terms of track position, the Porsche is definitely still in the lead.
Yeah. Look at this battle going on here now. Look at Veth down the inside, having a look down there. It's not a very wide line through there. And he put his nose in there, but Ian had him covered. Now, when you're looking at the track from up here, James, looking across now through turn 1 into 2, 3 and 4, you can see the sheen off the circuit, and then there's that very dark, dry line right through the middle. There's not a lot of room offline, is there?
Yeah, well, in this situation, it's not necessarily who's got the fastest car, but it's who's willing to constantly test how quickly they can get their car through the corner. It's about reassessing at every corner, literally, as it dries, how fast you can get through it.
Yeah. So, of course, if we don't get any shit... Look at this battle going on down here between the Subaru and the BMW. They're having a great time, those two. That is Graham Fraser, and actually our timing system is a little bit up the chute, and I'll tell you why it is. That's better.
Oh yeah, we've got the sort mode correctly, so we had it in qualifying mode. But back on track, that actually confirms that John Veth is currently the quickest car on track, which is interesting. Being in third, we could see him, although he's having trouble. He's having trouble catching up with Ian here. He hasn't got the extra gusto to get past.
Yeah, he's now John. Well, have a shout out for John here, and that's in the Farmlands Commodore. He actually does all the work on that car himself. Right? He manages farms. That's what he does for a living. And he keeps the car in his shed at home.
So you're trying to say it's quite agricultural in the way that it's put together?
No, he's actually reasonably. He loves working on his own car and preparing his own car. So he doesn't have a big team or a big workshop behind him with mechanics crawling all over it. He does all the work himself. So
in some ways, it's one of the better ways to do it, because as soon as anything goes wrong, you know exactly what's gone wrong, because you know exactly.
Oh, hang on, we've got a safety
together.
car issue. We have safety car. Let's see what's happening here. Okay, we've got somebody off somewhere. Let's see if we can pick it up. Still got no live feed on our screen, so I can't tell where that is around the track. And
they've rolled the safety car out pretty quickly, though, so it must be in a precarious position.
We'll try and see if we can pick up where that is. So while we've got a bit of a brief...
So our current lead is Matt Whitaker, number 1 Porsche in first, and then followed by Ian here in the number 80 Porsche, and then in third place, 23 John Veth. And not too far back, we've got Matt Griffin in the number 77 BMW in fourth place, and then Rick Cooper in the Ford Mustang in number 302 in fifth. So current class leaders are Matt Whitaker, number 1 in GTB class. And then in class 1, we've got Matt Griffin in the number 77. Class 2 is currently being led by 142 Graham Fraser in the orange E36 M3. And then I believe that's all the classes we've got here today.
Yeah, we didn't have a Class 4 because we only had one 1600cc car entered. So that got moved up into the... So what we're going to do is we're going to welcome Elton Goonan to the commentary box, and James is going to hover around, and we're going to swap around the three of us while we're all here and have a bit of a chat. And just for those of you out in the internet world who don't know who Elton Goonan is, he's the track manager for Hampton Downs. I think he's run Silverstone as well and a few tracks overseas and done a bit of racing in Europe as well. Welcome, Elton.
Thanks, John. It's good to be here. It's nice to actually be away from Hampton and see another part of New Zealand for once.
Yeah, sure. So, and yeah, picking up some secrets from the opposition, I guess.
Absolutely. No,
So,
I mean, in all credit, what John and his guys do here is pretty good, and what they've done over the last 12 hours to get the water away has just been fantastic, so we can get racing again today.
They've put some real effort in there. You know, as I said, I've been taking my hat off to the guy all day. He's done a fantastic job. And his team. I mean, it's not just one man. As you know yourself, it takes a whole team of people to run a racetrack. But, okay, now you've been out this morning you're racing in the 3 hour with Lance Hughes in the Hamilton Ashvelt's TLX Holden Commodore. Tell us, you obviously didn't get a run yesterday. Tell us what it was like when you went out there this morning. I don't know if it was you in the car or Lance, but somebody had a little bit of a moment under brakes down here into turn 1. Yeah,
Lance went out and just shook the car down this morning. We were just trying to make sure we'd made a few setup changes first thing yesterday, which they worked, thankfully. So Lance went down and shook out, we scrubbed a set of tyres in, just made sure everything was running well. And at the time when we were out earlier on, it was definitely on that margin of still needing wets. But luckily for us, these guys out here in the 1 hour are making a nice dry line for us. So the 3 hour guys, we're going to be, I'd say, bolting slicks on for the right from the word go.
Yeah, so basically, considering we've had 3 meetings, there've been nothing but rain, I guess everybody's got fresh slicks sitting in the garage.
Yeah, absolutely. It's going to be a nice way to finish the season for the 3 hours. Like I say, I'm standing in this weekend for a young Andre Heimgartner who's over in Sepang racing. So I had the call from Lance a couple of weeks ago. So for me, it's going to be great to have a run on Lance's car with the slicks. But yeah, for the rest of the grids, it's going to be good for them to get a run on those slicks.
Okay, so just for the folks out in internet land, Elton, we'll give people an idea of why you've been asked to step in for Andre, because Andre's a pretty capable race driver, and you've got a bit of a history yourself. So tell us a little bit about what you've done overseas, so they know.
Yeah, well, I moved over to the UK back in the late 90s and got into Formula Ford over there, and sort of worked my way through. Did some Formula Ford, Formula 3 stuff in the UK, then got into GT stuff. Managed to do some British GT, come back and done Bathurst 24-hour in one of the 2 years that they ran it, which was one of those bucket list things that any driver really wants to do.
I bet, yeah.
I was fortunate enough then to be working as an instructor at Brands Hatch. Went in there and also started being the deputy chief instructor. So I got a lot of track time doing that stuff. And then I moved over to Sweden. Actually ran a track in Sweden, and I was quite fortunate. Did some Danish touring cars, went off and did Nürburgring 24-hour, and did some testing for the LMP2 class. But as we all know, money talks, and I didn't have enough money at that point to talk.
So I believe the call came for a track manager at Hampton Downs once Tony had taken it over, and that's where you're sitting now.
Yeah, well, I'd actually came back from Europe in beginning of 2010, and I hooked up with Formula Challenge down at Taupo, which do the V8 drive experience, and I ended up running that for a couple of years and got to know Tony Roberts. And so when TQ came in and took it over, Tony Roberts and a few others threw my name in the hat, and I had the phone call from TQ, and 2 years later I'm still there, which is a good thing apparently in Tony's world. And but no, I've been fortunate enough. I've done some V8 Ute racing, raced in the endurance series back in 14 and 15. We had a Radical one year, and then we had a Skyline the following year. And so it's good to be back in the series, and it's great to see how over the last 3 years it's developed, and just how the cars have developed and the driver skills have developed as well. And it's just really bringing it up there. And from my point as a driver coming into the series so far into it, it's good to see that progress. And as a driver, it's the type of category that I think is going to grow in New Zealand.
Certainly, I totally agree with that one, yeah. And okay, so there we are, folks. That gives you all an idea of who Elton is. So he's more than a capable replacement for Andre Heimgartner in the Hughes Hamilton Ashfeld's car. So we've had a whole swag of pit stops while the safety car's been out. So they've all done their pit stop, because I think the pit stop window has obviously been open for a little while, so because they have to do a compulsory pit stop, and you still see how wet it is there. Barry Kirkman just come out of pit lane, lit it up, and got a real tank slapper on. So it's very wet out there, Elton. Not flying anyway.
Yeah, it's one of those things. I mean, the pit lane obviously is under the shade at the moment, but especially with a cold set of slicks on as well, it's not going to be the best place to put your foot down coming out of pit lane there.
No,
but,
that's true. That's true.
Gives the marshal something to smile at.
Yeah. So James was referring to it earlier on. Hang on, I think we've still got. We're going to go. No, we've still got. Tony's got the lights on, so we're still going to do another lap behind the safety car. Just try and pick up what the actual issue is, because I don't know where it is around track. Because it's probably been put out online on camera. It's somebody over in, looks like in the...
So turn 7 from here.
Turn 7, yeah.
Yeah.
Now, unfortunately, I can't see that. Now, pit lane apparently has just been closed, so we've been told. So not quite sure what the story is there. So we can't... So we're just waiting for... I've got...
Okay, so it looks like that's the Archibald car.
Oh, no, that's Nick Archibald's car. So... Okay, so, well, that's a great shame. Apparently, Nick Archibald, and unfortunately, folks, you've got to sort of forgive us, because we've got no live feed up here, and we've got an issue electronically somewhere in the system, and I've got no live feed on screen, so I can't see what's happening over the back of the track. All we're doing is we're way up in the top of the grandstand at Puke, so we can see a lot of the circuit. We can see turns 1, 2, 3 and 4 all the way down the back straight. We kind of lose things once it gets into the complex. Then we can pick it up. We can see the hairpin again. Then there's a bit of a gap as they go down through the dipper, and then up over the hill we've got full view again. So for those of you that are watching online, we do apologise if we kind of miss stuff, but there's not a lot we can do about it at the moment. We just have no live feed. So Elton, James was referring to it a little bit earlier on, getting offline when you're trying to get through the traffic. In something like a V8 touring car, what's it like?
You've actually got to be very, very careful. I mean, the car we're running, the TLX Lance has got is we're pushing 700 horsepower, 800 newton meters, so we've got a lot of torque there. So when you're offline on that slightly damp stuff, you've got to be very, very cautious on that throttle. Really make sure it's straight. Okay, and it is the Archibald car just on the back of the flat deck there.
So that's a great shame, because there was a good fight going on between him and Graham Fraser. They were at it hammer and tong, those two.
Yeah, and considering it was a 1 hour, they were pretty hard at it really for a 1 hour race.
Yeah, well, that's true. So I'm wondering if somebody leaned on somebody. You just don't know, do you?
Yeah, well, that racing instinct really doesn't come out, does it?
No
matter what you do, you can't really beat that out of you.
No, that's right. And if you ask either driver, it's always the other one's fault.
Absolutely.
No matter what the incident is. Ask Vettel.
No, there's always that huge book of excuses from a race that you get when you first get your race license.
Yep, and you kind of add to it as the years go by.
Absolutely. And guys like Kenny Smith and Ray Williams, God, this book must be about 6 inches thick by now.
Yep. Now, we had Kenny up here. We had Racing Ray up here with us yesterday, and he's off doing the speed show today. And and he was, because we had an hour and a half to talk about nothing.
Yeah, I mean, on that note, I mean, it's a bit of a shame that we've had that clash with the speed show this weekend. It would have been great to top and tail with one or the other.
Well, one thing I've got to take, Matt, one guy you've got to take your hat off to, and you have quite a bit to do with him too, Elton, and that's Chris Watson from HRC. He's been sort of one of the guiding lights amongst all the promoters and all the tracks, trying to get everybody to get their dates in a row. Unfortunately, the speed show kind of fits in somewhere. And it's an oddball one, that one. We can't do much about that.
Yeah, and I mean, I know Chris had set these dates quite early on, and then there was an issue with ASB, and Speed Show did have to change because of something at their end.
Is that what the problem was?
So it was one of those unfortunate things this year, because I don't think the clash has ever happened before, and it's always good when you don't get those clashes. But I know from my side as a track manager, we sit down with Chris and John particularly, and we try and manage those dates so we don't get those clashes. We try and reduce the amount of overlaps, so we don't wear the drivers out, but also we need to look after the volunteers as well.
Oh, that's right. I mean, we could actually, in talking of volunteers, Elton, that was one thing I do need to bring up. For all the drivers here at the track, drivers and crews, we've got our volunteers gift box in the sign-in room. If you've got a bottle of wine or a gift of some description, box of chocolates, whatever it may be, go and drop it in there, because we give it to the marshals at the end of the day. And that's really appreciated by them, because they stand out here. They don't get paid, do they, Elton?
No, absolutely. And, I mean, considering those guys were here, we called the race off at...
Okay, we're going to go live here.
Going green in a second.
So, yep, and we've got at the front, it is... Andrew Nugent in the Burrows seating car, and there's Chelsea Herbert's actually the race leader at the moment as she comes across the line. And Peter Ward is running second place. So we've got there? Ward, and we've got the Scuds running third, and Matt Griffin's fourth. So and they're all basically line astern on track at this point in time. And I've got a funny feeling Matt might have actually done a pit stop.
Yeah, so that's going to be actually interesting, seeing the likes of. Wardy and Brett are good battlers in the Ute series, so having those two close together is always interesting anyway.
Yeah, so now look at the Porsche coming through the field there, and Matt Griffin in the M3. That M3 is fast in a straight line.
Yeah, well, I mean, the Porsche's only just starting to pull it in under the brakes up there now, so... And actually nearly collected Scud on the way into the corner. So,
young Max, he's certainly been a find this season. I mean, he's two years in a row he's won the BMW E30 Championship, and the Mortimers decided he was good enough to throw him in this car.
Yeah, and I mean, Warwick and Andre have got a lot of history in motorsport, and if they've seen something in Matt, then that's a real positive. And just from what I've seen from Matt just out on the track over the last sort of 6 months at Hampton on his days there, he's definitely got some talent and definitely got some skill there.
Okay, look at this down across the line. This is Andrew Nugent. Now he's going to be going for it because he does not want to go down a lap. And now he's not going to go down a lap to these guys because this is Chelsea Herbert and...
Verity, isn't it?
Whoa, look at that. Oh, who's that?
Whittaker,
Matt's offline. He's got that completely out of shape through there. That was a great save because that Porsche was at a 45-degree angle of the track.
Absolutely, and it's just let Matt get right up on his bumper again. But looks like Matt's just maybe missed a gear on the way out there and just lost a few car lengths.
So down the back straight they go now, and Chelsea Herbert's trying to get past. She's the leader of the race, and I think this is going to be putting Whittaker back in the lead under brakes, and there's the pass for position.
It's a nice dive under there, yeah, and he's holding her out just through turn 6 there, and he's going to get the run.
I'll tell you,
out of there.
hats off to young Chelsea. I mean, she's only 18 years old, or 19 years old, I think she is now, and she's peddling that big Ford Falcon around, and she's a tiny little thing as well, so she's doing pretty well.
Yeah, well, she's just talking to the guys, talking to Lance, and that she's definitely a hard racer. She sticks her elbows out when she needs to, and she knows when she needs to do it as well.
Yeah, so it's okay, across the top of the hill. Here comes Nugent again in the Burrows seating BMW M3 GDR.
He's got himself a bit of a buffer here, but I think Matt Whittaker's going to...
Oh, he's not going to hold Whittaker out. I tell you what, look at Matt Griffin, though. And look at Chelsea now climbing all over. Rick's not going to want to... Oh, it's actually... This is the battle of the girls, because that's Alexandra in the...
so she's... that's going to be an interesting one. Yeah. It's going to be good.
Yow! The claws are going to come out now.
But Matt's pulled another couple of lengths just coming into the complex there, and so I don't think Matt Whittaker's going to have it all to himself today.
No, he's not. I tell you what, he's that BMW of Nugent's has got some stick in a straight line, hasn't it?
Yeah, I mean, well, I was fortunate enough. He was actually at Hampton a few weeks ago doing a test session, and just seeing the technology under that, and just seeing that thing run around the circuit, it's quite an impressive piece of kit. And
when you consider it's a New Zealand built car as well.
Absolutely.
You know, when you compare it with Kent Bajent's car, which is a European car. They're pretty high-tech cars.
Yeah, and you kind of feel sorry for Kent at the moment. He's still got a lot of gremlins with that car, but I think once those bugs are sorted, that's going to be a very, very quick machine in the enduro spec. Yeah,
he's been having a bit of a nightmare run with it, hasn't it, since it arrived. Whittaker's not closing him down much.
No,
Andrew Nugent's actually Nugent's a lap down.
Okay, so the timing's sorted itself out now, which is...
We're having problems with our timing system. It's okay.
It looks like Chelsea's got past as well, which is missed that one over the back. Must have been under the brakes into turn 5.
Okay, so the running order on the road, folks, for those looking for it, is Matt Griffin, who's leading in the Porsche 991. Sorry, Matt Whittaker. And then Matt's at the front. Matt Griffin is in second position in the BMW M3. Then it's Chelsea Herbert in the Ford Falcon in third, although she hasn't stopped. Ian Hare's the next man on the road, and his good mate John Veth is right in behind him in 5th position. Then we go back to Peter Ward and the Scud Rudd in the two Holden Utes, and then right behind them we've got Rick Cooper, and it's actually Chelsea Alexandra Whitley at the moment in the Mustang, but so they're a lap down. Now Chelsea's going to go a lap down, and so's Ward and Rudd and Cooper when they stop.
Their pits, yeah.
And I tell you what, Whittaker is not closing Nugent. I reckon he's just driving at pace, don't you?
Yeah, absolutely. I think he's got sort of looks like a 2-second gap over Griffin. He's got a clear bit of space with Andrew in front of him, so I think he's just sitting there, just maintaining his laps. No point in pushing the car and risking it. I mean, there's just over half an hour left to go, so he's got a good break between Griffiths behind him, and might as well sit there and just leave it as it is.
Yep. Okay, so we're going to give you a rundown of the top 15 at this point in time. It is Matt Whittaker in the 991 at the front, then it's Matt Griffin in the BMW M3. We go back to Ian Hare in the 997 GT3, from Chelsea Herbert in the BA Ford Falcon. Then it's John DeVeth and Glenn Smith next out in the Super Tourer development car. Then Rick Cooper and Alexandra Whitley, with Alexandra behind the wheel at the moment in the Ford Mustang.
We've got Ruddy and Wardy going side by side into the down the back straight again in the damp. It's always...
Yep, well, they're running 7th and 8th on the road at the moment. Then it's Graham Fraser in the BMW, then Bruce Cat in the what we call the Shed. That's the Ford Falcon with a Chevy engine in it. And then we've got Graham McCormick, Barry Kirkman and another Mustang, Andrew Nugent just in behind him, Bernard Varight and Charles Rollo. That's your top 15 as they're running on the track at the moment. So for those of you out there watching online, once again, we do apologise if the commentary is not kind of lining up with what you're watching, but unfortunately we don't have a live feed at the moment. We've still got a break in our system here, so we're doing this live from up, so we can't see what you're watching online, but that gives you an idea of what's actually happening out on track at the moment anyway.
Yeah, but as we're getting further into the race now, the dry line's actually getting wider now. We're almost got 2 lines through turn, or two car widths through turn 1 here as well, which is just going to create a few more passing opportunities down into here as well.
I'll tell you what, I wonder why I've just figured out why you were so eager to come up here and give us a hand. You're picking up a bit of info.
Absolutely. Any inside info we can get is always good. Always good.
Here comes our second place man across the line now, Matt Griffin, and tell you what, he's going well. He's doing 1:10.3 is his fastest lap that time. Oh no, his fastest time is a 1:09.1, which is pretty impressive for that car.
Absolutely, and he's still keeping Ian out behind him as well. He's still maintaining kind of a 3.5-4 second gap.
Of course, the other thing too is he's fighting with this man just going past us here now.
Into the championship at this point. Just seen the point.
The inside of Begovic through down here into turn 1, and there's our Commodores again now, and they've got one of the Porsches, McCormick, between the two of them now, between Rudd and Ward. And there's Simon Lucas in there, although I think we might now have Bajent behind the wheel of the car.
Yeah, and Simon's only really just got that car back up and running as well, which is great.
Yeah, there's that battle still going on between Veth and Hare, and I tell you, something tells me that that's going to boil over.
Oh yes, yeah, and Cal Macbeth nearly squeezed one of the Porsches there going through turn 3.
And the interesting part about it is they're actually best mates, those guys. So. Oh, look at this. Here comes the pass. Deveth down the outside of Hare as they go down into the complex. And he's pulled it off. I tell you what, that's late on brakes.
Very, very late. He must be so confident on those brakes. And the downside with John is actually he's running in the 3 hours. So
yeah, well, they're running the Camaro in the 3 hour.
So they're actually getting better intel than I am.
Well, yeah, they are. That's right. So now... So well, I suppose you guys don't know, do you? You don't know what the pace difference is between you guys and the Camaro.
No. I mean, testing on Friday was very much hit and miss, just the amount of water we had. But Lance was very, very confident in the car and the pace we had. It was my first half a dozen laps, so it was a bit iffy for myself. But
okay, now here comes Deveth down here now. I think it might be. Is it Deveth in the car? Or is it Glenn?
Go around the outside of Barry, is he?
Actually, I'll tell you what.
He's just cut Barry.
I think it might be John in the car now. I think Glenn might have started the race because the car's a lot more aggressive than it was in the previous, before the pit stop. Now, yeah, I mean, you would know yourself. When you're the co-driver, you're not going to be as aggressive as the guy who owns the car, are you?
Absolutely. And ultimately, you just want to make sure you get that car home.
That's right. Yeah, and Glenn is an incredibly good peddler. I mean, he owns the Camaro that we'll be seeing out here later on, but he also runs that 1,000 horsepower GD1 Porsche.
Yeah, the Crawfords, yes.
Yeah, the Crawford Porsche, which was actually the speed show last night. An awesome looking car. So 1,000 horsepower. That's in fact, I think that hold the outright lap record on the international track?
I believe so. Yeah.
Yeah.
No, sorry, second faster. We still have the AGT running slightly quicker.
Hang on a minute. Isn't Kenny? I think Kenny's got it with the Formula 5000, isn't he? I think.
Oh, you've got me thinking there now. Yeah. Actually, that many laps around there, you kind of lose track of it a little bit.
Well, there we go. So it's who have we got down here in the pool?
Is that Matt washing right again? Matt Whitaker just coming washing wide as he came through 1 again.
So
no, so that would have been Ian here. Just pushed a little bit wide going through turn 1 there. Yeah, lost a place back. Okay, so I'll tell you what, John has absolutely bolted in that Commodore. He's gone. Let's have a look. What's his times? 1:04.
105.
105, so
Yeah.
he's a good second and a half clear of the next fastest car on the track at the moment.
He sure is. What's Matt doing? Matt's 107s, yeah. So
Matt's last time was a 108.
yeah, and John's was
Sitting on a 110, but obviously he's in a bit of traffic at the
and
moment.
Ian's dropped well back, 112s that time. Rick Cooper put his fastest lap in the last time round, or Alexander, I should say. And so did Bruce Kett. And those two are running together on the road. Hang on a minute. That's Whitaker. There's Veth. That's getting really close.
That's getting very, very close. I think they're within three. I think it's about 3 seconds on the looks of it. The distance. So John's really got the bit between his teeth at the moment. I think he can see the tail lights going.
So I'll tell you what, Elton, I'm going to throw a challenge out to you now. I'm going to give you James to talk to for a little while.
That'd be good.
Here's another up-and-coming race driver. Back over to James Watson.
Hey, Elton.
Hey James, good to see you back. Good to see you back. It's a bit different from the Atlantics you've been running.
Yeah, well, it's a typical, not the best track for the Atlantics, but I will say that Matt Griffin's definitely pushing the limits of that car.
Yeah, I think he's seeing that third place and seeing Ian here getting a little bit closer ahead of him. So I think he's just trying to put him down, but somehow I think that Porsche is just going to be a little bit too quick.
Yeah, the race seems to be stabilising in terms of position. The lap times themselves, I'm not seeing any bests come out apart from Bruce Kett, number 351, has just set a personal best.
Yeah, I mean, we've still got John Veth. He's sort of still knocking out lap times, which are a couple of seconds quicker than Matt Whitaker. So it'll be interesting to see whether John can make any more.
Well, you're saying a couple of seconds better. The gap's only 1.5, so potentially we'll see this time round that he's actually on the tail of the Matt Whitaker's Porsche.
Yeah, I'm just trying to pick them up around the track there. I think they're just coming out of the hairpin now. So here comes Matt, by the looks of it, up over the top of the hill. But they're starting to get into the traffic now, which is actually going to work in John's favour, John Veth's favour. And he's
actually
just going for the pass.
Oh, eager down the inside. Going into turn one, we've got the Porsche. He's now looking left, he's looking right.
And John's actually quite confident going down the inside of two at the moment. Is he going to make the dive? So just a slight hold up there by Kett for Whitaker. So
I think John fell back just a little bit to try and get a run out of the corner, but it's sort of backfired. Although actually he's closing in.
He's closing at ridiculous speeds.
So maybe it's actually worked for him, getting that run under brakes. He's right on the tail of Matt Whitaker's Porsche.
Yeah, and another bunch of traffic just going through 5 and 6 there. So this will be interesting to see what kicks out of there and down into the hairpin.
So that last lap through, he was John Veth's car is still 1.5 seconds a lap quicker, but he can't get the pass. Although he had to come out of the hairpin side by side, I believe.
I actually think he's got him.
So the portion of the Falcon have just touched, I believe. It's just call over the radio. Commodore, sorry.
So John's now got the lead. Ian's dropped back, so there's definitely some contact.
We're missing the Porsche. Has he gone? The Porsche has just come into pit lane, so a series of events have unfolded there with John Veth's Commodore coming into the lead, and the Porsche is now in the pits. So in second place will be now Ian here.
So hopefully that's nothing serious. Hopefully it's maybe just. Well, I would hope it'll be a scheduled pit stop because it's right getting towards the end of the pit window.
Yeah, you never know with a touch. He's got a couple of 100 metres to the side. If anything doesn't feel quite right, whether he comes into pit lane or he takes turn one at full speed and potentially sees something in the wall.
Yeah, and that's kind of the last thing you want here at Puke because you're touching well over 200 k's going into turn one here, particularly in something like the GT3. So. Yeah.
So the team will probably have the car. He's coming out now, so they've probably had a quick check just to make sure nothing's bent or out of line.
Yeah, there's definitely a nice few rub marks down on the left-hand side in front of the rear wheel, so there's definitely been some contact there.
And the Honda's actually looking to pass him, so he's taking it fairly gingerly just to start with, so he's maybe still not 100% happy with what he's feeling through the wheel.
Yeah, which is a shame. That could have ended up being quite a good battle for the lead there between those guys. But
John Veth has no sign of slowing down. He's just set a best lap of the race at a 105.6, which is a good second better than his previous best lap. So he's definitely got the hammer and tong out.
Yeah, and he's just over 7 seconds ahead of second place.
Yeah, and Ian here's half a second a lap slower, so that gap is going to hold, or if not increase.
It's going to increase, yeah. Which is going to be good. It's going to be good, which means that young Matt Griffin can hopefully.
Well, Matt Griffin's 19 seconds behind, so
yeah, and Matt's still running relatively close pace to what Ian's doing. So hopefully now Matt's on third, he might just get the bit between his teeth again, realising he's got a podium and maybe even getting a second out of it.
Although the gap that time's come back at 11.9 seconds, so...
Yeah, I mean, definitely watching Matt Whitaker's car come through down the straight here and into turn one, the attitude of the car's definitely calmed down a lot. I think he's still a little bit ginger about that car at the moment.
Yeah, Josie back here again. Yeah, sorry about that. Hey, just looking at that, that's 44 seconds down for Whitaker. To be honest with you, I don't think he really cares because that's not a big enough points difference.
No. So he's still got the championship.
Yep.
Which is great. I mean, it's as a driver, you've always got that personal pride. You always want to win. You always want to get as high up as you can.
Of course you do.
And particularly being the last round. But at this point, I think he's just happy to finish.
But look, I was saying before the weekend we got here, and when we did our piece yesterday morning on online. I said I was picking that the supercars and the supercars and the super tourers and the TLX cars were going to come into their own on this track as compared with the GT3 cars because of the bumps here, realistically, and the high-speed nature of the circuit.
Absolutely. I mean, although I only had a few laps yesterday in the TLX, we've got the pace in the straight line. For us, the GT3s obviously they've got the aero working for them, and that makes a huge difference, particularly under brakes into turn one here and into turn 4 and 5. Mm-hmm. But I think it's going to be an interesting race. It's going to be a bit of that cat and mouse. One lap here, one lap there.
If it was in the dry at Hampton Downs, the GT3 cars, because of the nature of that track, it's very, there's a lot of flowing, there's a lot of corners, and it's high speed, low speed corners. In the dry there, the GT3s are going to have the edge. Here, I think the edge tips towards, and I'm picking the Chester's car is going to be the one to watch. Not that you guys won't be there, mate, but you know.
No, I mean for us definitely. I mean Chester's are ahead of us in the championship.
Yeah.
So for us, they've got the target on their back. We're gunning for those guys. And 3 abreast into turn 1. John Veth one side, Cal McBeth in the middle.
I tell you what, he's looking in his mirror and he can see Whitaker coming. Because let's have a look. Now hang on a minute. I'm looking at the sort mode. Running order on the road is John Veth, Ian Hare, Matt Griffin, Matt Whitaker. Now I can't see out there where Matt Whitaker and Ian Hare are between the two of them. So is Whitaker a lap down? He can't be.
No, he's definitely not a lap down.
Well, here's Matt Griffin here. Has our timing system gone up the chute, or has somebody been penalised? I'm not quite sure.
Because there's definitely at least the length of the back straight back to Matt Griffin.
Yeah, well, I mean, according to this, if they're all on the same lap, right? I mean, we can see that Veth and Whitaker. Oh, hang on a minute. No, Whitaker is a lap down. Now, I wonder where did he lose that?
Well, he did spend sort of 30-40 seconds in the pits with that check. So if the guys had lifted the car and just done a quick tuck underneath and just checked the wheels, it would have eaten the time up. Okay. So he would have lost 50 seconds trundling in and trundling out.
Okay.
So it's not surprising.
Yeah, he's really got a nasty rub on the side of that, isn't he? Now here's Hare. He's coming hard as well. Now we're looking for Matt Griffin. Where's Matt Griffin?
Matt Griffin's just...
He's a fair way back. So, I mean, look, he's leading class, so he's not going to be too fast. Although he is a hard charger. There's no two ways about it. He wants to be at the front.
Absolutely, and just talking quickly to Matt last night at the dinner, he's definitely got that twinkle in his eye of stardom and wants to be up there.
Oh yeah. He's a man who's driven, but unfortunately, and I think you alluded to it yourself a little bit earlier on. It was money's always the issue, isn't it?
Absolutely, and that's motorsport.
Well, hang on, that's Matt Griffin in the pits. Now, what's going on here? Has he done his pits? Did he not do his pits? No, he didn't. I don't think he did a pit stop earlier. But he's got track position. He'll certainly have. He's got track position over Cooper
he's got
and
50 seconds
and Whitley.
Ahead, so
here comes Hare now, and he's reining up on Whitaker. I'm not sure if that car of Whitaker's is performing well this weekend.
No, I think Matt Whitaker's just at the point now. I think he's had that damage. He's had that contact. I think he's realised that he doesn't need to push.
Oh, we have a safety car. What's happening here? It looks like we got a safety car here. I see the lights are on. I haven't heard the call. We've got a yellow down here. Yep, we have a safety car coming out. Now let's try and pick up where that's going to be around the track. Now that's going to play into...
it's going to help Matt Whitaker, definitely. Pull Ian in. And he might even
actually it's not himself. because Ian's going to be right on his tail and he's a lap in front.
But Matt's running just over a second and a bit quicker than him.
Well, you've got... Hang on a minute. Yeah, well, Ian here is in front of Whitaker on the time.
Yeah.
But Whitaker's ahead on the road. So basically this is a lap difference between the two.
Between two of them, yeah.
So
just trying to pick up what the incident was. Looks like something coming out of there.
I'll have a word with... Now let's have a look. We've only got 12 minutes left to run. So let's hope whatever that incident is, it's going to be cleared quickly. I'll have a quick word with race control and see if I can find out what that might be.
Yeah, it'd be great to finish the final round of the 1 hour under racing conditions. Obviously having a race finish under yellow from any driver's point of view isn't a great thing. So hopefully the guys, Gary Devon and his guys, can get that cleared up as quick as they can, and so we can get racing again. So it looks like the field's just...
Okay, we've found out it was car number 16 into the wall at turn 3. So we can't see that. Car number 16 is...
It's Peter Vigovic.
Yeah, it is too.
In the Holden, in the VY.
So that's a bit of a shame. And hopefully they'll clear that quick. Oh, yeah, we can see him there. He's down the back straight there, just under the Puke Park sign.
Just hidden behind that the horse marker.
That's it, number 14 there. So he's there between the Porter Group and the Mount Shop. You'll see Puke Park sign, and that's where Pete Begovic is parked.
So he must be just as he's come out. There must be a little bit of water left in those curbs on the exit underneath the wall demolition signs.
Yep.
Got those, and must be just run a little bit wide and touch the wall on the outside. So easy to bend a tie rod and steering in there.
Yeah, it is. So okay, so let's have a look. Where's all our protagonists on the road? I'm just trying to put. There's the two Porsches. Now in here, okay. So you've got John Veth is obviously behind Tony Rutherford in the safety car at the moment. Then we've got Graham Fraser in there because he's well out of position. And then you have Matt Whitaker, who's technically a lap down, and then Ian Hare, who's in second position. So Ian's going to be a little bit frustrated because he's going to have great difficulty getting past Matt, and he's after John, who's just 2 cars up the road.
Yeah. But like I say, It's going to be an interesting one. Good finish, good sort of final 4 or 5 minutes to the race, which would be great once they get this cleared.
Yeah, well, that's it. You know, there's the old saying, isn't it? Safety cars breed safety cars. So let's hope that they get it all underway. And,
and it's I suppose for Tony Rutherford, this is getting some good practice in. I think he's back off to Oz at the end of the month.
Yep, so, he's given us lots and lots of information here about him. He's driving for John English in the '67 Ford Mustang, which is maintained by Fat Ass Competition Engines. And out of 6 rounds, they have 2 left, and I think he's won just about everything so far, hasn't
he? Yeah, I think he shocked a few of the boys over there when he went over there for that first race. He kind of came out of the blue, and I know we had those guys over here at Hampton Downs for the festival beginning of the year.
Yeah.
And he was talking to them then, spoke to John English, and managed to knock something together. And
of course, you'd have only been basically a real young fellow when Tony was racing, and he was racing that rapidly fast Mazda RX-2 Turbo, Wyndham Shirts sponsored car. How's that from memory?
Yeah, that's a good one. That's actually well beyond my years, John. No, it's I mean, I only really got into motorsport sort of back in the sort of mid '90s, so I got in. And only really got into motorsport in New Zealand for about a year before I got off to Europe.
Right. Yeah.
And sort of coming back for me and having to be able to talk to guys like Tony, Kenny Smith, those guys, it's just a real dream.
Oh yeah.
Walking down the pit lane and chatting to these guys. As any driver, it's a great thing, and we're pitted next to Kent Bajan. Years ago, touring car champion, and it's.
Well, I actually pit crewed for Kent Bajan. The 1981 Benson and Hedges race at Manfield. I was racing the Formula V, and then I pit crewed for him in the enduro race on his fuel on the Toyota when he and Graham Bowkett won that race. So that was 1981. So that's going back some years, and that's before he went off. And Kent, Kent. A lot of people don't realise Kent, what a driver Kent is. I mean, he partnered Brocky. Yeah, and he raced in Europe. He's raced BMWs and raced at Bathurst as well. So he knows what he's doing.
Yeah, and I mean, for us at Hampton, we've got the GT membership package, and talking to a lot of those guys who are part of that GT membership package, there's so much racing history within the 100-odd members we've got there. It's unbelievable.
Okay, all right. Well, there you go. I'm going to let you have a free ad. Go on there. Go and sell your GT membership. No, it is. Hey, it is a great concept. I mean, one of the things that I do like, it's being an apartment dweller there, it gives me plenty of entertainment watching those guys play during the week. Yeah.
Absolutely, and it's great. You get a great mix of car. I mean, we had a day on a few weeks ago, and we had Greg Murphy there running around in the Super Tour, and we had Warwick Mortar there with the McLaren Can-Am car, and just a variety. We had a couple of guys there in GT4 Porsches, so it's just a huge variety of cars.
Yes, I noticed actually, I was at the speed show yesterday, and there was an Aston Martin, and I see Greg Murphy was out there throwing that around on Thursday. A bewinged Aston.
Yeah, Richard Giltrap for some reason had the great wisdom to throw Greg a set of keys to a GT8 Aston Martin Vantage, which had, I think when it turned up, had 89 Ks on it. So Greg being Greg, obviously returned it with slightly more Ks on it, but he was very, very impressed.
Yeah, I mean, it was just a beautiful car, actually. Okay, we just had the call that the safety car is going to go green this lap. So let's give you a rundown. Who's running where? Okay, it's John Veth and Glenn Smith at the front in the Super Tour. Right in behind them, it will be Ian Hare, although he's 4th in this queue at this point in time. Then it's young Matt Whitaker in the BMW M3 GTR. Just trying to pick up where he's sitting in the queue. He's actually right in behind Ian Hare on the road, so how he managed to pull that off, I don't know, after his pit stop, and squeeze himself back into the end of the queue. That was a pretty cheeky little move. Then look where Andrew Nugent's popped up in 4th position, just in front of Rick Cooper. Then it's Bruce Kett. Then Graham Fraser in that little orange BMW. He's 2nd on the road at the moment, but he's running 7th in the race. Then it's Matt Griffin. He's down in 8th position at this point in time. So he's behind Rick Cooper on points. And considerably behind him, actually. So that could be a change of position in the championship, because I'm just looking at it here, and young Matt is on 173 and Rick Cooper is on 138. Now they are, I'm just trying to do some maths in my head, which I'm not very good at, so I'll try and work that out. So I don't think there's enough points to change it. I'm not sure.
No, I think there's still going to be that gap between them, but But then saying looking further down, Barry Kirk Bernand actually sitting there quite nicely, so he's going to be moving up, possibly up the points as well, maybe.
Yeah, well, of course, Barry bought that car basically because Rick blew him off last year with the Mustang, blew his BMW off. So Rick went to Barry went to the States and bought that Mustang.
And it's actually a very, very impressive car. If you ever get a chance to wander down the pits and have a look at it, it's a very, very trick bit of car for the spec that it's sitting at. So it's great.
But okay, over the top of the hill they come, and we have got a green light on them now as Johnny Veth brings them over the top of the hill.
Very wide there by John.
And look at Matt Whitaker out there. He's just absolutely going to grab everything he possibly can get. Here's
Down the
Andrew
inside.
Nugent down the inside of Barry Kirk Bernand as they come down into turn one. Fraser in the BMW jumps to the left, lets Whitaker through. Hare goes through.
Matt Griffin following
Matt
him,
Griffin follows him through as well. And then, Deveth's gone. He's got that big 7-litre pumped up, and he's gone.
God, you've got to feel sorry for Fraser there, losing sort of four or five spots just off that restart there. But yeah, Deveth's got 5-6 seconds on everyone at the moment.
But he's Graham's he's lost spots on the road, but he hasn't lost his position in the race. There's no two ways about that. Although Matt Griffin is going to be coming at him. Actually, Matt Griffin would have got him, so that will be a pass for position because Matt was behind him at that point in time on the race. So down into the hairpin they go, and we have just on 3 minutes 10 seconds left to run, so which is about 2 laps.
2 or 3 laps, yep. Which will be good. Nice way to finish the 1 hour series. Good little sprint, bunch everyone back out.
Okay, we've got a spinner at the hairpin, and it looks like a Porsche from here. Is that Ian Hare? It is. It's Ian Hare. Ian Hare has flicked it round at the hairpin.
Oh, no. So that's going to bring Matt Whitaker back up into second place.
And not only has it flicked him off into the hairpin, I'd say, judging by the amount of water we had yesterday, he'll be axle deep out there.
Yeah, well, I mean, in the session on Friday, there was definitely a pond out there, but it was draining. But yeah, it was going to be soft out there, and I think we just had the call that the last lap board's going to go out next lap round as well, which is. So it's going to make it a good dash.
So let's just hope that they're going to just run this under a localised yellow down there. We certainly don't want another safety car with 1 lap to go. And I mean, I know the race control here do a fantastic job, so I don't think they'll let that happen.
No,
Deveth through the hairpin now.
No, I think their Porsche's far enough offline to not warrant it. And we should even get away with actually not having a yellow down there, so we can
I
still
can
manage
imagine
some passing.
how blue the air is in that Porsche at the moment.
Yes, I definitely would like to have an in-car camera on that one.
Yeah. Last lap board out now. Here he comes, Johnny Deveth across the line with him and the co-driver Glenn Smith. We'll see them again. Whitaker, who is now going to pop up into second position as he takes... and he sets his fastest lap of the race in the process with a 1:07.029.
Yeah.
I think he fancies he might still have a crack at the lead Commodore, but I don't think he's got a hope in Hades, to be honest with you.
Well, saying that, I mean, John Deveth's lap was only 0.2 of a second off the fastest lap of the race at the moment anyway.
Well, you're wrong there, yeah. So as they go down a good scrap down here between the Toyota 86 and the V8 Ute. And there's a whole gaggle of cars in there. There's one car I haven't seen there. One car I haven't seen. That's young Ben McDonald in the McDonald Halligan Motors T86. I don't think he turned up today.
No, there was unfortunately the change of date. It was changed from Saturday to Sunday. Just did put a few of them off. Other prior engagements and stuff. But I mean, we were lucky. John Hume was able to accommodate us.
Here he comes, Johnny Deveth. Put your hands together for him, folks, across the line. It is the Farmlands Commodore of John Deveth, and Glenn Smith takes out the 1 hour race. In second position, it is Matt Whitaker in the International Motorsport Porsche 991 GT3, takes out second place. In third, it will be Andrew Nugent. And here he comes down in the Burrows seating BMW M3, and young Bruce Keck and Rick Cooper is going to take out fourth. And here he comes across the line now. Rick Cooper and Alexander Whiteley. It's Rick at the wheel, actually. And then Bruce Keck will take out fifth. Matt Griffin from sixth. He's gone across the line. Barry Kirk Bernand comes through in eighth. Great job from Barry there.
That's a great job from Barry, definitely.
Yeah, and then it will be Bernard Wright comes up, and that's John Deveth's brother-in-law. He comes up in a ninth. And Cameron McCormick takes out 10th position. Look at the battle here between the Utes. All 3 of them together.
Close together. And then 286 is following.
That'll be young Milligan in one of the 86s. Hello, we're getting a call at the turn 2. We've got somebody's gone off at turn 2. What's happened?
I think one of the boys was just doing a little bit of a nice sideways.
Oh, okay. So, okay. Hey, well, look, there we go. Now they're all going to come around and form up on. They're going to come around and form up on pit lane now. On the track now for the presentation. Unfortunately, we don't have a on track mic, so we can't say thank you. But I'll tell you what, big thank you to you, Elton, for coming up and joining us today. Appreciate having you here.
That's great. Thanks for inviting me up here, John. It's been good. It's nice getting a bit of info on watching the track and seeing how it's evolved.
You can pay me later.
No worries. But no, I mean, from my side, it's a big thanks to the Motorsport Club, to the North Island Endurance Series, just for being able to put this on. And like I said, particularly to John Hume.
And Puke Park race.
Puke Park. I mean, they were lucky enough to rejig their schedule and allow us to carry on today. Without that happening, we wouldn't actually had a race. So
yeah.
I can't really thank John enough for what
and
he's done to change.
You know better than anybody how hard it is to rejig things to accommodate people, don't you?
Absolutely, and as a track, I mean, it's a venue that is well used, and being able to switch things around such short notice, and even the work they've done overnight just to help with the drainage has been fantastic.
Yeah. I mean, I know Hampton. I mean, Hampton's a fantastic circuit. You know, I live there. I love the place. But Puke Park's always been my home, and it is a lot of history here. I mean, you know, names like John Surtees, Graham Hill, Jim Clark. You know, the place just reeks history.
Absolutely, it's one of those nostalgic places, and in a way you can actually fit it in with the likes of Goodwood's and Brands Hatch Grand Prix, because it's got such a big history in it, and it's had so many various winners across various classes throughout the years.
Yeah. Okay. Hey, well, thanks again, Elton. We'll say goodbye for a little while. We'll wish you and Lance all the best this afternoon. We hope you have a great race and wish you well. And we're going to take a break now, folks, while the presentations are being done down in pit lane. And I'll be back with you with James Watson after the break.
Which camera is live? Audio, audio. Camera, handheld mic. Thank you.
Overall? Cool. Overall for the series? Matt Whitaker, John DeVeth, Nick
It's third overall for the series.
Hope this is right.
Okay.
Race control from Toti, we're in pit lane.
Yep. Can I have Matt here?
Aren't you interviewing?
Yep, I'm with Matt Whitaker. Oh,
Where's Matt Whitaker?
Whitaker!
Hop to it, boy, hop to it. Oh, I don't let me in. So there we are. You
So
go.
can you speak out loud so they can hear you?
No.
No?
You just go for it.
Okay, guys.
Has everyone got another
Just
line?
like to say we will be handing out trophies for this round as well as the series, so thank you for parking so far away from the trophies. We have sprinted up
John the
here.
best fault.
But what we'd like to do is say congratulations to our series winners for the 1 hour. Matt Whitaker, congratulations. Series cups, where's the series cups? Big one, big one. There we go.
Thank you.
Sorry, I've got my hand. Well done. Would you like to say something, Matt?
No, Karen,
Not
she's,
yet.
sorry, she's being,
Okay.
Lucy's doing the interview. You
Second,
just,
John DeVeth. And third overall for the series, Matt Griffin.
yes. Looking over this way, mate. Give us a yay.
Woohoo!
Bloody good stuff. Okay, you boys, just let's have a photo with the three of you together. Just like that. Yep. Awesome. Awesome.
I want some hot sauce.
Okay. We'll do another one. Yep.
Come forward. Alright, we're down here, third place overall in the series. Matt Griffin, what a ripper series you've had.
Mate, what a race. Went off about 3 times, I think. Had a flat tyre. It was just all on. So I'm just bloody happy that I could finish. Thanks to my team, they've done a fantastic job with the tyre change, fuel stop. Oh, mate, it's so hot in that car. I'm just glad to be getting some fresh air. But no, very, very happy. And yeah, thanks to my team, Mortimer Motorsport.
So how did you actually find the track out there with the drying conditions?
So slippery. It was terrible, to be honest. Just had to try and be very careful, keep it on the track. I had a left front tyre which was going flat every lap, so just very happy to finish.
Well, congratulations, and definitely got a bright future ahead of you, so best of luck for the rest of the
Cool.
year.
Thank you, I bloody hope so.
Moving on to second place overall.
Oh, second overall.
Oh, overall,
Yeah.
here we are. John, how
Yes.
was it out there?
Oh, awesome. This guy loves Puke. I like Puke. And my mate Glenn drove first half and kept it on the track and did a bloody good job. So all they do was take over and just keep the pace up.
Excellent.
And I was fortunate, probably Matt let me get this one because this car wasn't tuned in properly with the suspension, and she's a pretty bumpy track. So I'll take it, and I'm really wrapped and enjoyed the race. Actually had a good battle with a friend of mine, Ian here, but unfortunately his car let him down. But I had a good battle with him, so it really got my heart going and enjoyed it. So it's good.
Well, congratulations, and what can we see from you for the rest of the year?
Well, I'm in the 3-hour race next with my mate Glenn. We're doing half drive each in the 1 hour and a half each in the 3 hour. So in the Camaro in the next race, and she's going to be busy, full on and hot, and but I'm looking forward to it. It's a good track.
Well, congratulations, and we look forward to seeing you back here shortly.
Thank you.
Winner, winner, chicken dinner, Matty.
Yeah, thank
How
you.
was it out there for you?
It was a bit of a wild ride, really. The car was it was the first sort of dry run, so we didn't quite get the setup right, and it wouldn't go over the bumps or get over the hill or turn into turn 1. So we were always destined for second place. Well, probably third if Ian hadn't had his issues. So yeah, it was just a matter of getting home, and we had a couple of incidences during the race. So just lucky to make it home, really. Yeah.
Well, congratulations, and
Thank you.
what are we going to see from you for the rest of the year? What else can
I
you
don't
win?
know, TBC. Yeah, I'm not too sure. We'd like to go to the South Island, but maybe the 101s. I don't know. We'll have to see.
You heard it here first, everyone. Well, congratulations, and
Thank you.
look forward to seeing you back out on the track
Appreciate
soon.
it. Good job. Cheers.
Good.